there from him?
As far as JVG, we're just praying for him and his family situation that he can get back to us as soon as possible. T. Lou, still experiencing some back issues, and so same thing with him. We just want him to get back as soon as possible. We also want him to take care of himself and whatever it takes for him to be able to get back here.
How would you kind of go to practice today? Like, you got a full team. We ain't seen that very often. So, like, how do you kind of, use this rare opportunity to get done whatever you need to get done today?
Today was more, it was a looser practice. We did some fun things, but at the same time, some conceptual things that we wanted the guys to kind of lock in on. They did a lot of really good things the other night in Cleveland, and so we just want to keep building on against Cleveland. So we want to keep building on that, and so we just did a lot of shooting, a lot of execution stuff, and different lineups, because obviously we've been throwing a lot of different lineups out there, and for the first time and maybe all season, we've had pretty much everybody available and at our disposal to use. And so there's a lot of different combinations that we still have to figure out that we're trying to do and that we walked through today.
Speaking of lineups, the three-man group of Bogey, Nico, and Zoo have been really good on the floor together. Kind of how have you seen their fit and kind of how they kind of boosted each other and boosted the team?
Yeah, I mean, the guys have been kind of joking calling them the Euros, but obviously there's a familiarity with them, not just language-wise, but just on the floor, and the style of play that you see played in Europe, and particularly the passing and the movement. And so it's been a blessing in disguise for us to see how they have gelled, those three guys in particular, working with each other. And we're cognizant of that as a coaching staff, and try to get those three out there as much as we can.
What's your message to the guys? Now you have another big game, another game against a team that's ahead of you in the West. And OKC coming in, they're now top of the league. How do you guys approach these games? Are they more state the game, or is it still just about your group?
Yes, I mean, it's about our group. When we're in a position to be able to control what comes next for us, we have to take control of those situations. And so that's how I've been approaching it. We've been approaching it. Not trying to make it more than what it is. And just the one thing that I really saw in the Cleveland game is like the joy that everybody was playing with. So we want to continue that. We want them to have fun. We want them to compete. And I think if we compete and we have fun, we share the ball, and everybody feels like they're involved. And we got a lot of contributions in a lot of different ways. So it's just for everybody to star in their role. And Memphis is going to do what they're going to do. They're going to try to impose their will on us. We have to try to do the same thing, with them. But like I said, just mainly execute what we want to execute, and worry about doing, playing the right way and doing the right thing.
Well, what's been the challenge of reintegrating Norman into the unit that seems to have found a rhythm together with Bogey and Hugh and James? Like, what's the challenge of reintegrating Norman into this?
Well, I mean, I don't know that it's a challenge. In that particular game, Zoo and that group with Bogey and those guys, they had such a good rhythm and such a good thing going that I didn't want to disturb it, and it didn't matter if it was Kawhi trying to be integrated or whatever. If they were rolling like that, I was going to let them roll. And so, Norman's competitive and he wants to be out there and he wants to be a part of it. But there's going to be different guys on different nights. And like I said, for the first time, we've had pretty much everybody available. So there's going to be nights where some guys who are used to getting a certain amount of minutes don't. And other guys that aren't used to getting minutes, if they get going, they get to stay in a little bit more. But as you get to this part of the season and closer to the playoffs, typically rotations will shrink anyway. And I mean, not that I'm saying that, addressing that to Norm, but just with everybody. Like I said, it's a good problem to have. It's better to look down your bench and have the problem of, I got all these guys, as opposed to looking down your bench and going, I don't have anything.
Right.
So.
When you look
Last
at
one,
the team, I
last
think
one.
like, you know, with a veteran team, it's probably easier to sacrifice. But a lot of guys will say sacrifice until it comes to them, and then they might not feel the same. What do you feel like the level of buy-in is with this team on, no matter what, who's out there, we just want to get the job done and win?
Well, I think it's the more success that we have in terms of winning games and the feeling that you get from winning games makes the buy-in easier, right? I mean, we have several coaches on our staff that have played at this level. We've all been in that position before where the coach has gone in a different direction. And you know, maybe we weren't happy about it, but you still have to be professional. You still have to pull for your, you know, for your teammates. And these guys, you know, for the most part, have done a great job of doing that and pulling for one another. You know, even if it isn't their day. And so, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, if you're really about winning, then, you know, if we win, then everybody should be happy. And good things come, you know, when the team has success. So if you're about individual things, then, you know, then maybe you have a different outlook on it. But I think we have a good group and everybody has been professional. And we want everybody to be competitive. We want guys to be upset if they feel like they can go in the game and help us out and they don't get put in the game, you know, and it's not always going to happen. That's a decision that the coach has to make. But like I said, everybody's been professional and been good about it and been pulling for one another.
Okay, thanks, Mitra.
It's been a while, man.
I know. Sheesh.
How you feeling?
Feel good.
What's it been like to kind of get back out there, get back into the group of things after the time on the sideline?
I mean, just focus on being able to be out there. You know, you get sidelined with back-to-back injuries that you weren't expecting. You know, it's kind of frustrating going through the rehab process and everything. Kind of like starting back over, getting back into shape, getting back to feel, getting back into rhythm, getting back the chemistry and stuff after, you know, if it's not one or two games and you miss more, you know, the team kind of gets to feel and flow and how they get to play when guys are in and out. So just kind of get back acclimated to the team and how they're playing and get my feel and flow back.
Is it an adjustment process when you've missed? Is it an adjustment process when you miss kind of back-to-back time with back-to-back injuries and the team seems to be getting a flow? Is it an adjustment to work yourself back into the group?
Yeah, for sure. You know, like I said, like you start getting a feel and then how you need to play when guys are out, guys step it up, rotations, everything changes after a couple games when players miss time. So just getting back and getting back into the flow and how things are going. We changed a couple things, offensively, defensively. So just picking up on the different play calls and how we're trying to execute and run things on both sides of the ball. It's always going to take a little bit, I mean, especially with my recovery process, having 2 lower body injuries, not really being able to do anything cardio-wise or on the court. You know, really slow playing the workout process and building things back up in terms of my load and everything like that. It's going to take a little bit getting my legs back underneath me, but just trusting the process and staying with it.
So I was going to ask about that, the cardio and all that. Like, I know you want to be out there, you want to play, but do you feel like you have to work yourself back into game shape now? You missed like almost a month away.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just a little bit, you know, with your legs and everything. It's hard to replicate gameplay. You know, you try to do that as much as you can, but it was a tricky spot just having the knee injury and then the hamstring. There's not too much you can do in terms of running up and down on the court because you're trying to manage pain tolerance and everything like that, not trying to make the injuries worse. So trying to, you know, do things on the bike, on the Versa Climber and things like that, but it doesn't really replicate, you know, the cardio and things that you have to have for gameplay. So for me, it was these last 2 games have really been like my stay ready games because I haven't been able to really work out or, you know, get some live action in the practice time because the team is on the road trip and everything. So these games that I'm in on a minutes restriction, just filling my way back in to the group of things.
No, even though you guys always say it's about the group, but when you're playing teams like OKC coming up, Memphis coming up, does that add any significance to the game? What's that feel like playing teams with those records like that?
I mean, we know that they're top teams. You know, both teams. I mean, all 3 teams that we have this week are ahead of us. Have better records, 2 of them in the Western Conference. You know, they're statement games. You want to go out there and play and show that we can compete compete and beat these teams. It's playoff time now. I think we have 12 games left, 13 games left until things get real. So it's all about positioning and playing your best brand of basketball. And down the stretch of games, getting ready for playoffs, it's always good to have the top teams that have kind of solidified their 1, 2, 3 spots in the postseason to go up and see where we're at, see how we can improve, and go out there and be the best team that we need to be going down this last stretch.
When you were out, the team struggled, then they got better. Like, what did you see from them that excited you about the progress they made without you? And how do you feel you best fit how this team is playing now that you're back?
I like that they stayed with it. They figured it out. They were working together. I watched every single game. They didn't have no quit. Got down big in New Orleans and were able to claw back and take the lead. Unfortunately, we didn't come out with the win, but that no quit, that continue to fight until the game's over mentality is what we need. And I like that togetherness, that toughness to go on the road and lose that first one, and then pick up the rest of the games is really big. That's what we need. I think everybody's pulling in the right direction. Everybody knows that it's going to take a full group effort for everybody that steps on the floor if we want to do what we think we're capable of. And it's just we're starting to build the foundation and make the improvements in the defensive end, the rebounding, the boxing out, the physicality that the game needs. And I think it's showing in this stretch of games.
When Ty's not
all that, compared to that, obviously them being out, they had to change how they had to play. Now that you're back, it's not the same team that you left when we had All-Star break. So it's like, how do you see yourself being like, I can help this team here based off of what they didn't have when you was out?
Yeah, just continue to play basketball. Everybody knows what I bring to the table. I've always been a player that you can just plug in and play, and I'll figure out, how I can impact the game offensively. But defensively, having my head on the swivel, helping on the team defense side of things, off ball, making sure I have the same focus and mentality and approach that they've had while I've been out. That there's no drop off, and then just re-implementing myself on the opposite end, making the plays that are in front of me, and going forward with that end. But I put the work in. I'm never too worried about that. It's just making sure that we're playing a certain brand of basketball going down the stretch of games.
When Ty doesn't coach, what's the biggest difference with him not being on the court? Is there any difference other than the short coach you guys don't see?
No, Bishaw, they're vocal. Bishaw's been in the head coach position before. He knows what the game needs. He's another player coach that understands. But it's stepping in and taking that role, like we talked about this morning in our meeting. The coaches are also, having to have that next man up mentality. And trying to figure out how we can put the best combination of players on the floor to help us get a win. And it's going to take sacrifice from everybody. While we have not only T. Lou out, but JBG out as well, on the defensive side of things, to be locked in and pulling the rope in the same direction. And everybody knows that. Bishaw done a great job. And now it's just continuing, in the huddle, helping him with what he sees. It's a back and forth communication with the players and coaches, but he has that same mentality and goal in mind that T. Lou has, and everybody falls in line.
What's I don't want to say the challenge, but how do you reintegrate a guy like Norm, who's been very important to you guys this season, given that you guys have found such a great groove in the time that he was out?
The game that he's been playing this year has been tremendous for us, honestly. So obviously, it's like a working period where you're gonna have to get your rhythm back into the game and figure everything out. But Norm is a professional, and we expect him to come out there and do everything that he was doing before. We're not expecting Norm to shy away from any shots that he's taking or pass up anything. This is what's gotten us here this far. Norm being aggressive, Norm being who Norm is. And we obviously gonna live with it every time.
What are y'all have practice and everything? Grizzlies tomorrow. What are some of the things that you feel like you want to try and build on? How long y'all been playing lately?
Being a little bit more aggressive defensively, just not allowing back doors to go, and getting out to the shooters a little bit faster, getting our hand up and testing a lot more shots. Obviously on the offensive end, just being who we are, getting out on the break whenever we can, and just being athletic as we are.
You guys, this is the most points you've scored this season. Kind of what has made this fit so good for you on the offensive end?
Like I said before, just the guys coaching staff, teammates, just always putting confidence out there for everybody. I mean, they never told me to shy away from anything, never told me to pass up anything, so it's not going to start now.
You guys seem to play with a sense of purpose and determination against Cleveland. Is that because of the few games left, and the sense of urgency there, or was it just what was the mindset going into that game, and how do you carry that over to the next 2 games?
I believe the mindset was the same. We just knocked down a lot more shots, and I feel like we were a little bit more focused a little bit. It's just we should bring that every night, and not just one night, obviously. And so that's what we are here today, and trying to get everything tightened up and making sure that we locked in.
How are you guys able to kind of deal with the absences of both Ty and JVG now that it's been a couple games tied for the last week and a half, whatever it is? How are you guys managing? How do you think the coaching staff has kind of handled that as well?
I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's just like how it is for players. It's the next man up. I mean, we obviously them being down right now, we don't want it to happen, but I mean, life presents itself to you sometimes, and you just gotta go out there with what you do. So, it's the next man up mentality always. So, I mean, I'm happy for Coach Shaw and all the coaching staff that's stepping up and doing what they're supposed to be doing.
How do you evaluate yourself defensively? We talk about how you prepare defensively and everything, film study and everything. How do you evaluate that part? Like, what numbers do you use, and kind of like what feedback matters to you?
For me personally, defensively, honestly, I just go based off how the offensive player that I'm guarding, however he's reacting to me playing defense. Because obviously I like to play a little bit more physical, be up against the ball, bumping and trying to cause the offensive player to lose hands with the ball or something, so we can get on the break and get steals or whatever. But not for me. I just, however they reacting towards me, like if they get a little mad, telling their teammates to come set screens, then I know I got them. Then I know I won. But obviously, I just go out there and play the game regardless. However I got to, if I get steals, blocks. Obviously, if I don't get those, I'm contesting every shot. So that's what I do.
You and Chris have had some solid cases for all defense, but there's a whole minutes thing and the 65 games rule. Like, how do you maybe some of the guys you talk to about that kind of feel about that? Given that you've had great seasons, but you don't hit a certain minutes limit or you don't play a certain amount of games, you might not be eligible for an award that you probably should be eligible for.
Happens. I feel like that kind of happened to me last year to a certain extent, but I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, as a player, you want the accolades, you want to be acknowledged by your peers and everything, but for me, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. I mean, I want it, obviously, but I care for it, but it's just something that's not going to change my whole day. It's not going to change everything for me. So, if it happens, like I said, it happens, but if I don't meet the criteria, but that's what it is. I mean, I'm not tripping. I'd rather my team win.
I think so.